Premier François Legault is thinking of banning prayers in public spaces, including in parks and the streets. That includes tabling new legislation and using the notwithstanding clause.
We finally know how they're going to pay for it. Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David, and today's top stories here. The Public Service Alliance of Canada has figured out a dirty secret of Justin Trudeau. They are planning on stealing nearly $2 billion from the PSPP, the Public Service Pension Plan. This is federal workers. There's a full list here that we'll get into. But they're going to steal this pension money to spend however they like. We also got some updates on polling numbers and a bunch of other stories here. Let's just jump into this. First up, we got these polling numbers here, 43%. This is much of the same. We also got some updated polling numbers from Nick Nanos here.
Roger, so, we look at the latest Nanos tracking, and, what's interesting is that, we always talked in the past about the Liberals kind of trying to change the trend line. The latest thing has been this $250 proposed check and the tax holiday. Well, you can see Liberal numbers aren't up. That's for sure. They're, basically 19 points back. The Conservatives at 42, up 2 points.
Wow. In
the 4-week rolling average. The Liberals at 23, down 1, but within the margin of error. No change for the NDP. So, Roger, if you're Jagmeet Singh, you're thinking, okay, so I'm supporting this GST, HST tax holiday. No bump for Jagmeet Singh so far. Bloc at 7, Green Party at 4, People's Party at 2. So, Roger, why don't we just say Liberals have thrown another kitchen sink to try to change the trend line, and not working, at least not working yet.
No.
That's basically what we expected. Trudeau's little tax trick here, not doing anything. It's not moving the needle at all, and not for Trudeau, not for Jagmeet. Instead, it's just going to cost businesses. They're going to increase their prices to deal with the reprogramming fees to change the taxes for 2 months. Canadians will get 10, 20, 30 bucks, 40 bucks back. Will this increase inflation? It's a bad move.
A lot of people I've talked to about that, especially business people. The whole GST thing is going to be a nightmare for them and cost them money. So
yeah,
not surprising that a lot of people are happy with that. Okay, tariffs. Do we have a concern for it? I imagine a lot of people do.
Yeah, the thing is in a survey that we just did for CTV News for Power Play, Bashi's show, we asked Canadians about this 25% tariff that Trump has alleged say that he would do once he was president. And check it out, Roger, 23% of Canadians or thereabouts believe that it's likely that these Canadians believe that it's likely this will happen. Another 40% say that it's somewhat likely. So
likely, unlikely, we don't know. We'll just have to see. What's more interesting here is what's Trudeau going to do about it? Nothing? Something? Moving on here, we've got Jagmeet Singh. This fool posted on Twitter today. It says a permanent GST tax cut on essentials means no GST on home eating, no GST on internet bills, no GST on cell phone bills, no GST on diapers. So this is his big play. This is the platform he's running on now. For months and, well, basically years, it's kind of been like, well, what are the NDP? Like, what are they? What are they as a party? Nobody really knows. So this is what it is. This is his whole plan. So if you want this in Canada and you want this loser who says he doesn't drive a Maserati when he does drive a Maserati and lies to Canadians and is selling out Canadians for a pension, well, there he is, the NDP. I can only imagine, yes, these comments are not favorable for Jagmeet. This person here is calling out Jagmeet because you can see their carbon tax is $22.88 on their heating bill, but the HST is only 10%. Which means the GST of that is actually even less. This is just savage. It's meme after meme of Jagmeet in here. Okay, but how's my pension doing? Next up, we got this one and a little comparison here by Glenda. We've got, this is a new photo. Pierre's looking jacked. Meanwhile, we've got Justin Trudeau. Next up, this one from Table Salt says breaking 25% U.S. tariffs would bring Canada unemployment to 8%. Also, BMO Economics predicts that Canadian dollar would free fall to 65 cents, $1.52 USD CAD. So you can see they got projected tariff here. This is a tough one because then Canada could come back and nuke America with the energy. They need our energy. So I think he's just kind of strong-arming Trudeau to actually do something once good for Canadians. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 8% before any tariff. It's already 6.8. Next up, we have this clip from Justin Trudeau. This video's got a couple different examples of different Olympians winning medals and their experience with it. And meanwhile, we got Captain Schmuck here doing what he does best, mooching off of other people's wins. And just listen to his words. He likes to latch on to people who are winners because he's such a loser. It's like this narcissist feeds off of this energy of actual winners. Like, what's with this face? This guy's always such a creepy creep lord.
And then when Andre got it and he was like near the front, I'm like, oh, we're gonna win. There's no way he's gonna come.
I immediately turned, seeing the little name there first.
And then he starts crying.
Very funny. But I missed his hand a couple times. So after that happened, I'm like, oh, we just lost. And then when Brandon was coming around the bend, it started to open up a little bit. I'm like, we're still in this. And then when Andre got it and he was like near the front, I'm like, oh, we're gonna win. There's no way he's gonna fight.
Canada popped up, but then it went away. And I was like, no, you can't do this to me now. And like 20 seconds later, it was like Canada 1, USA 2. And then in that moment, that was when I was like jumping in my boat.
When we see a Canadian on the podium, it's because we know there were coaches, there were family members, but there was an entire community. And when we celebrate victories on the podium, we're celebrating Canada. And that need to celebrate ourselves and to remind ourselves that we kick ass as a country is something that you are giving us every single day.
This guy's such a loser. He's just got to latch on to all of these actual winners in life. And it's kind of sad because our funding for the Olympics to talk about like the community supporting this and that. It's like, you look to America, that's where there's real funding for the Olympics. This is just bootstrapped hard work for Canadians to get on podiums. Let's get real. Next up, we got this one here. Quebec Premier calls for ban on public prayer after another school controversy. This is pretty amazing. So we've been seeing these public prayers for a long time. These people blocking the streets. It's a show of power. It shouldn't happen in our country. There's plenty of mosques and places to pray. They're not having it in Quebec.
Premier François Legault is thinking of banning prayers in public spaces, including in parks and the streets. He said his government is analyzing all the options. That includes tabling new legislation and using the notwithstanding clause, if necessary.
You should pray in a place that is for praying.
Earlier, Education Minister Bernard Drinville also promised to bolster secularism laws in public schools.
You're in a classroom and you have kids praying in the classroom during class with the encouragement of the teacher.
Drinville is referencing a La Presse report on this high school in Laval. It outlined alleged cases of students praying in classrooms or hallways, in one case with their teachers' participation.
I haven't seen much, but what I've seen is like that people are praying in class and like they're getting out of class to pray.
The teachers always speak in another language between them, she says. The president of the Laval Teachers Union, Julie Bossé, says she knew about students praying in the school's staircases, but not about teachers. I don't know of teachers organizing prayers, says Bossé.
This is a book I published last year.
Retired sociology professor Rachad Antonius says this conversation needs to be had with more of an open mind.
Then measures of neutrality of the school would be better accepted. On the other hand, people who work for inclusiveness should get out of their attitude of denial and stop pretending that the problem is just created by racism and discrimination.
In a written statement, the Laval School Services Centre says it is investigating the most recent allegations.
It's crazy that this is happening. Like praying in the stairwells, praying during class. Come on. Next up here in our top story, we've got this one. Federal pension plan. Government plans to pocket $7.4 billion to give itself a contribution holiday. This is really slimy. So Anita Anand, she's in charge of the Treasury Board. So they've got 9.3 pension surplus. This is for the PSPP, the Public Service Pension Plan. Anand tabled the report in Parliament this week and immediately announced that she'll be transferring $1.9 billion to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, the government's bank account. This is a fund that the government can spend that money however it likes. Where the same report forecasts that the non-permitted surplus will continue to grow over the next 4 years and projects that the government could eliminate it by halting its contributions to the plan, saving $9.3 billion. So what's the government's planning on doing here? Anita Anand is planning basically to save $9.3 billion. The government is going to stop paying into the pension plan, but workers still have to. How this works is a 50-50 split. The workers pay, the government pays the same amount. It's something like 9% up to $68,000 of eligible pension, etc. It goes up to 12%. It's all complicated, but regardless, they're still going to have workers pay, but the government doesn't want to pay into it anymore. And not only that, going to take this money and just run with it. $2 billion, just run away. Workers and employer contribute together to this fund, so why should the boss get a break? This is about fairness, plain and simple, said PSAC President Sharon DeSoto D'Souza. The government flat out lied to us. No wonder it turns out to be the biggest holiday present the government is giving this year is to itself. D'Souza called the move a betrayal. Unions see the surplus as deferred wages that should be shared with workers, not used as a financial windfall for the government. The decision by the government to put itself ahead of workers is wrong. They're spending employer contributions to the plan, but not investing in fair pensions or contributions break for workers. This is a disappointment, but not a surprise. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? Justin Trudeau and the Liberals here just stealing more money wherever they can. They're a bunch of liars. They're a den of thieves. They're a bunch of crooks. This is some very slimy, underhanded stuff. Like, you guys are going to new low here. So who exactly does this affect? Canadian Armed Forces, RCMP, Public Safety and Corrections. This is like basically all CBSA, parole, probation, corrections officers, health and emergency services like paramedics and emergency management personnel. We got judges, lawyers, meteorologists, researchers, technicians employed federally, engineers, IT professionals in federal service. We've got Crown Corporation workers like Canada Post, Indigenous service workers like federally managed Indigenous services, and politicians. So it's a lot of people that this affects. But the Liberals have no shame in taking this money instead of giving it back to the people who paid into it. Next up, we got this nutcase here, Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow. She discusses how Ontario mayors are complaining about increasing homeless encampments across the province in a mayor's WhatsApp group chat.
I don't want to comment on people's intention, but I do hear and see the desperation of many mayors across Ontario. I read their numbers. We're on a WhatsApp group together. And every day they're saying, oh my God, what are we going to do? It's getting cold, and they have photos of people in tents in their city, and it's growing and growing and growing. And if you look at there are some, because we are not single tier, we are single tier, and a lot of the municipalities are two tiers, right? It's the mayor the provincial.
Okay, we need a break for a second. Who's operating this camera? Seriously, just don't touch the camera. I'm getting nauseous.
Dealing with shelters are upper tier for them. So it's the upper tier, sorry to get into weeds on this, versus a single tier. So some of the mayors just don't have the financial capacity to do what needs to be done, right? We are trying our best. We still are not nowhere near enough, because you're seeing tents out there. We are reducing them as much as we can. But as the rent rises, you are seeing these folks in Daily Bread Food Bank. You look at the dramatic increase of the use of Daily Bread Food Bank and the number of young people that are in our shelter right now, right? These are kids.
Young people in shelters. Trudeau's Canada, folks. That's what he wanted for us. He planned this out and he executed his plan, is to destroy our lives. That's what he wanted. Every action he has done has moved us closer to that. Tell me I'm wrong. And the fact that they have a group chat talking about this, and she's saying, they're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Are they going to have to start up a new division of Canada that goes around, collects bodies in the winter because so many people are sleeping out in the cold? Or is this just part of the MAID program? And we didn't need to see that today. Stop posting the photo of her. Only hope to save Canada. Next up, we got this one. The Canadian Dream in 2024, rotisserie chicken. Oh, geez. What does this come to? Everyone's fighting over the rotisserie chicken at Costco. It's because it's the cheapest one. There you go, Chrystia Freeland. You happy? Next up, we got a couple different clips here. So Donald Trump has been going around meeting world leaders. He's not even in power yet, but he's basically taken over here. So this one, he's meeting Zelensky and Macron in France. I should note, too, that there was a confidence vote and he was ousted. He's still technically in power right now, but this is just like embarrassing at this point. We've got this one too, where Trump met Macron outside. This is they're reopening the Notre Dame Cathedral here. Just take a look at this handshake here. So if you look here, when he first shakes his hand, Trump pulls it in. He's doing a power move. He's like, I've got control. So he's tugging him in. And then look at this. He rotates his hand over. You see how Macron's shoulders turn? So that's what you do. This is a martial arts kind of move. When you grab someone, you grab their wrist and you twist it over, it forces the person to roll. It's a real power move. Rotator cuff damage. He'll be stiff in the shoulders after this weekend hanging out with President Trump. We've got another handshake video here. It's very bizarre. If you look at Macron's hand at the start, look at him. He's like trying to grab and hold his hand. You can see it right here. He's got a little claw on his hand there. Like, what is he doing? This guy's such a weirdo, just like Justin Trudeau. They're perfect for each other. They should just sail off into the sunset and just live their life on some far distant way island from all the rest of us. And here's another one of him and Macron shaking hands. It's so weird, man.
Please.
Oh, that's where this clip is from. This is that last one we just saw. He does a little claw hand on his hand there. It's very weird. Next up, we got this one posted by conservative Bob Zimmer. It says, we will cut the confiscation and the bans and instead go after illegal firearms smuggled across our border. And this one here posted, it says, latest federal firearm ban nonsensical, says BC Wildlife Federation. Trudeau's just getting destroyed by everyone. We need the right to defend ourselves, not just the ability to own pew-pews, but to use them in self-defense. Yes, we need not even just pew-pews, but self-defense. Like if somebody comes crashing through the window here, I should be able to, use this water bottle and slug someone over the head to defend myself. But if I did that, I would likely go to jail because our laws are stupid. Our laws basically say you're only allowed to use the same amount of force that a criminal is using against you. But how do you judge that in the moment? You're going to assess, like, wait a second, criminal, what kind of pokey thing? Okay, let me go to get a pokey. How long is yours? 8-inch pokey? Let me get an 8-inch pokey just so we have the same length so it's equal. Like, it's so stupid. If I were to grab a 4-foot katana and defend myself, then I'm going to jail because it was excessive force. Our laws are really stupid. Next up, we got some more robbers here in Canada because that's what we have plenty of now, thanks to Justin Trudeau. This one, jewelry store in Centrepoint Mall in Toronto. Yeah, we're just going to mute that so it doesn't trigger the system here. But these guys are just doing some repairs to that glass. Ugh, unbelievable. Just the filth Trudeau's brought into our country. Like, look at this. Like, does someone not have a pew-pew? And just, come on, take them out. 15 years for armed robbery, plus 3 years for committing it while covering a face. No good time, no dead time, no lived experience consideration. 18 years. 6,574 days. I would be very satisfied if these guys went to jail for 18 years. Get them to work building some roads out in the hot sun, pouring tar down, doing some good deeds for Canada. That's what we need, to just put these guys to work and really use them to make our country better, to repay their debt. Jumping over to my group, let's see what memes we've got today. So we got this one posted by Roy. It says, I found this interesting. Canada Post employees having a picket line in front of Purelator Depot blocking the trucks from coming out. Come on. It's really annoying. I'm waiting for some packages. It's like, can we just not get this thing sorted out? Canadians got to run businesses here. I get it. It sucks for the workers. Like, there has to be a solution here. So this is interesting. Warmington mayor who stood up to Pride group has bank account garnished. Emo Mayor Harold McQuaker faces stiffer justice from authorities than bank robbers and carjackers. So I actually shared this story on the channel here a few days ago. This is becoming nuts. Like, what's going on here? It's okay for people to steal $80,000 SUVs, but this mayor is having his bank account garnished. FYI, if you're in this situation, cryptocurrency. They can't garnish cryptocurrency. They can't access it. Only you can access your own cryptocurrency. Just saying. Mississauga man out on bail, charged in human trafficking case. What do I even say anymore? He was on bail for possession of a loaded pew-pew in a vehicle. Looks like a really cheery fellow. Only in Canada. That's right. Levels of pain, slap, childbirth, kicking the balls, listening to Trudeau. Maserati Marxist morals sold separately. Yeah, you bet. Check out how professional Iqra Khalid is to people on her Instagram while defending the disgraceful Liberal MP Strong Eagleman Randy Boussinot. Was Randy identifying as Indian? Nah, this one was identifying more as your mama. That's about what I would expect from Iqra Khalid. She's quite nasty and vile. I've had to censor the things she says in Parliament that I put on my channel because they're so vile. That's how bad it is. I can't even share what she says in Parliament on YouTube. Explosion of refugee asylum claims in Canada. That's gonna be nail in the coffin for Canada here. We can't get Poilievre in power fast enough. Well, there we have it. Justin Trudeau, Anita Nand, robbing the bank account clean, the pension fund, just rob it. Are they going to use that to pay for stuff at the border? Are they going to use that to pay for their tax trick? Are they just going to be putting that money in the laundry machines, get it nice and clean? Who knows? Time will tell. One thing I think we can be sure of is there's going to be more scandals before Justin Trudeau is out of power.